All right. Hello, baddies. It is podcast recording time. We're recording a little late, so you're getting this podcast a little late. Sorry. We're very busy people. This is your podcast host, Afsa.
This is Felicia.
I'm Beks.
And this is Three Girls, One Track, and we're going to be talking about the Saudi Arabian GP today. But first, we have to get into our Project Runway and What Not to Wear fashion segment. Beks, I heard that you demanded to go first.
Well, yes, I demand to go first because
Why?
I want to reinforce the fact that formal protest! I am protesting, and I beg you to stand up and protest with me. What? No more Project Runway. No more What Not to Wear until they give us something. Protest.
Wow.
Fight the power.
Fight the power is crazy.
I told y'all last time. Protesting.
Okay.
I'm not even acknowledging them, people.
Heard, Jeff.
Heard.
All right.
Well, that was irrelevant for today.
Afsa and I are just confused.
That was irrelevant, but okay. I'm going to go next.
Go ahead.
So my Project Runway is actually not a driver because they all sucked.
It never is.
Actually, my queen, Alex
Samle.
Yeah. In her abaya, I think it's called an abaya. It was the pink number she had that was like nice and big and stuff. I thought that was very fun. I thought it was like fun, flouncy, and it was culturally appropriate and culturally significant, which I always appreciate. I always appreciate when the girlies show up to a Middle East race and serve something honoring the culture. I think that's great. And then my What Not to Wear is also not a driver. It is Miss Jennifer.
You don't know.
Oh, I saw that one. I forgot.
I was dying because, ma'am, what? She looked like a bottle of Pepto-Bismol. I'm sorry.
She was really trying to get her I know what to wear to the race vibe.
She needed her leather race suit. I don't understand. I hated this look so much. I hated it so much.
You couldn't tell her she wasn't bad?
At all. Couldn't say a word. Not a damn thing. Anyway. Okay. You got anything else to say about J-Lo, Af?
No, I just thought the outfit was hideous.
It was a disaster. Outside of Alexandra and what's Kimmy's girlfriend's name?
I didn't know Kimmy had a girlfriend. This is news to me.
Elsa. Hold on.
Kim Illman kind of commented that was like his most liked picture of the weekend.
Aliska. She had this like 2-piece printed number. I thought she looked really cute. I thought that was cute. But other than that, no one really did anything for me runway wise. Now, What Not to Wear? We have multiple contenders. Yes. So contender number 1, Lando Norris. Can we figure out how to match literally anything? Literally anything. Because the thing is, I actually like this green jacket. I hate the absolute rest of his outfit. I hate everything else that is on his person in this outfit. Do you guys see what I'm wearing? What I'm talking about? Sorry.
For who?
Lando.
Oh,
Lando.
Yeah. Well, no. That's from... Is that from this past... That is from this past media day. Oh, I had thought that was from... Didn't he wear that top already?
No, it was different. He had a different knit top.
Okay.
Remember that he wore with the orange shorts? That was last race.
Yeah, I thought it was the same knit top, so I honestly thought it was last race weekend.
No, but then look at the jacket.
I don't hate this jacket.
I like the jacket. I hate the outfit.
I mean, the outfit's bad. Like, let's call it spade a spade. The outfit is bad.
Anyway, so there's that. And then Liam Lawson, why you're not going surfing, you're not going snowboarding, please take off the polarized glasses. And what is this necklace? Is that hematite? I don't understand. Anyway, that's what I got for you. That's it.
Okay. Well, after one refusal to participate and many flops, that's our fashion segment.
We
done.
keep it pushing.
We keep it pushing. And we're going to move into news. I have a couple pieces of news, and then Beks, I can let you talk about your piece of news. Since yours is more F1 related than mine. First piece of news, Carlos Sainz is the latest L'Oreal Paris hair ambassador.
Oh, God.
And I need to know if L'Oreal hair is taking us for fools. You want me to believe that Carlos Sainz, multi-millionaire Carlos Sainz's decision, if he was having hair growth issues, which we all know Carlos Sainz does not, right? Like, he has a great head of hair. Right?
He is literally known for his head of hair.
Known for his great head of hair. If you want me to believe that Carlos Sainz is having hair problems, you want me to believe that multi-millionaire Carlos Sainz picked up a bottle of L'Oreal Paris from Tesco instead of, going to Turkey to get hair plugs like everybody else. I'm sorry. I think he would follow in his brethren Pierre's footsteps and go get some hair plugs from Turkey. Why the heck am I using L'Oreal Endive when I have money? What's the money for? If not to guarantee a beautiful head of hair. So that was the first thing. Is I'm like, you're asking me to believe that Carlos Sainz uses L'Oreal Endive. Or Endive, whatever it is. You are also asking me to believe that if he did use a drugstore hair product, that it isn't some 2-in-1 bullshit. That he just roughs up in his hair and keeps it pushing. These are the same men who don't think they need showers at the racetracks. And you want me to believe he's using L'Oreal hair growth serum? And he doesn't believe in shower respiration? I just don't believe you. So, L'Oreal, I think, has some of the most unbelievable celebrity ambassadors ever. I have not ever recalled a L'Oreal commercial where I believed that person currently used L'Oreal. Like, I guess some of the celebrities that, like, came from the bottom and da-da-da-da, you can convince me they used to lose L'Oreal back in the day.
Maybe once upon a time.
Once upon a time you used L'Oreal. Or maybe you use L'Oreal's family products, since they're owned under a huge conglomerate that also makes luxury high-end hair care products. You're not convincing me that you're using the L'Oreal in this commercial. I'm so sorry. No. Why did they put Carlos Sainz in this commercial?
Well, the hair. It's the hair.
It's the hair. And I totally get that. I understand that most of being a hair ambassador is just having good hair. But I would like them to not take me for a fool. Other notable news is that as of, I want to say a couple days ago, as of this race, so I guess it's kind of a spoiler for the race, Max Verstappen has moved into second place for most points in F1 history. Mm-hmm. Shout out Maxie for number 2. He passed Sebastian Vettel. I'm going to bring up my lifelong problem with this statistic, which is that they never normalize the points. They never go most points if everybody raced under the current point system. They just go most points. And
I'm gonna need someone to explain to me half points.
So I'll explain you half points in a second after I get through why this annoys me. But yes, I do indeed believe that a new generation driver that drives under the point system where you get 25 points for a win and there are 24 races in a season, I'm sure they are going to be higher up on the list. There's more points on offer every year that you drive. So I don't like this statistic, but Max did.
How much did the highest points used to be?
What, it used to be 18?
Oh, really?
Yeah, it used to be something below 20. I know that much.
And what made them increase it? The more drivers on the grid? Was it what?
I think it was to help with the point spread or something like that.
Interesting.
But also to discuss the half point piece, if you don't go more than 75% of the race distance, they start doing like fractions of point. Like they start doing a different point system with fractions of points
if they don't finish the race.
If it's you have to.
Well, if you DNF, you don't get points, right?
No. Like the actual race is like the.
So let's
say
that you get to 50% of the race distance.
Yes.
And then a hurricane hits the track.
Yes.
You don't get.
Oh, when the whole grid can't finish.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
And so like, depending on the race distance depends on whether or not like how many points the spread is. So if you go 75 to 100%, I believe you get full points. The hurricane hits the track at 85%. It's as if you did the whole race. 50 to 75 points is a reduced race one where I think the top position gets like 18 points or something like that, right? And then I believe 25 to 50 is even more reduced. Both of those versions have half points for the record. And I believe under 25, they basically go like, race didn't happen.
Yeah.
Because there was that one, they updated these rules because I believe there was a race in 20-something. It's in the 2020s. Or like in the 20-teens/2020s. Where it rained torrentially after like 2 laps. And so, like, there were people who were in second place who, like, you're in second place because it's raining and you managed to not fall off the track before we red flagged this race. Like, you did not drive a racing lap at all. And so they updated the rules to make it so there has to kind of be a race in order for you to get racing points.
Okay.
Hence the half points.
Interesting.
Yeah, but Max Verstappen is now number 2 most points. I think it's stupid, but that's okay. And then last but certainly not least for me is that Netflix has decided to finally grace us with an F1 Academy docuseries.
I'm really excited about that.
I'm extremely excited. It's made by Reese Witherspoon's production company, which I think will be fun. And it comes out on May 28th.
Nice.
Super excited.
I just put the F1 Academy races on my calendar because I want to watch some of them.
That's good.
I'll let y'all know what I think.
Let's say, let us know what the tea is.
Mm-hmm. Okay, what we got?
Well, I got a piece of news, and it was a piece of news that was kind of taking over the week of the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix week. I feel like there was nothing else. I felt like there was nothing else to really talk about. That's why this was such a big deal. But it was reported that Aston Martin is potentially going to offer Max Verstappen $300 million to move to Aston Martin.
$300 million.
$300 million. And so, you know, one of the articles I read basically saying that Aston Martin has enticed Adrian Newey and Honda to the team, and so they may not be done
throwing out money.
They may not be done. Well, actually, good thing you pointed that out. But anyway, Aston Martin is basically poaching Red Bull. That's what it seems like. They're just going over there and seeing who wants to move. We can offer you enough money.
Damn.
But the reason I say it was a good thing you mentioned is that it's not technically Lawrence Stroll who is the one with the money. This offer is supposedly backed by like Saudi Arabian money.
Oh.
Yeah, and so that was something I thought was
they got
very interesting. Yeah, and it is. I don't. Obviously, no one has confirmed this. No one is saying anything. I think
everything is alleged.
Aston Martin basically said that, you know, they're happy with their driver's lineup right now, and actually, Alonso signed until 2026, and no one knows how long Lance
stops driving when he tells his daddy, "I don't want to anymore."
And I'm glad that I let you get into this Aston Martin tea, because as soon as you're done, I have multiple connecting pieces of tea that we can get into.
All right. Well, okay. So real quickly, the potential financial backing is from the Saudi Arabian Public Investment Fund. Now, I don't actually know if that's like, it says Public Investment Fund. I don't really know. It's Saudi Arabian Sovereign Wealth Fund. Yep. Yeah.
So essentially,
So
it's a critique of a lot of Middle Eastern countries, but they often have like sovereign or government-based funds that push a lot of sports there in an effort to like quote unquote sports wash controversies throughout the country by being like a premier sports destination, so that people get over your tea because you contribute so much to sports.
A la Ronaldo getting paid an asinine amount of money to go play for Saudi Arabian team. I think it might be Dubai. I forgot, but
on a yacht in Dubai.
Yeah, and like they even bending laws for him. So it's kind of ridiculous. Oh yeah, he plays for like a Saudi pro league over there.
No, but bending laws is crazy
because he and his girlfriend are not married, Georgina.
And he said that he needs to find a spark with in order for her to be his wife. That one?
Which is crazy.
To live together, for a man and woman to be able to live together, you have to be related to them or married. So they live together, and I forgot how they like skirt around it. If he like lives on the outskirts, or if he just got like a pass, something like that. But it is something that raised a lot of flags for people in the country because they were like,
"Well, match."
Hello. That's so not fair.
That's real.
But anyway,
it's literally illegal.
I think, funny enough, like if Max does move, Alonso's out more than likely, unless Lance decides he's just fed up of getting kicked out in Q1.
Beks, you were just saying you wanted to see him go to a midfield team. Maybe this is the move.
Who?
You said you wanted to see Max move to a midfield team.
Oh, I didn't say I wanted him per se. I just said, like, if he did move, I thought it would be reminiscent of, like,
true. Okay,
Lewis
yes. I misinterpreted.
I him to. But I think it's interesting. I think it's something, obviously, both sides are, like, denying. Max is like, well, I don't know. Max, he didn't fully deny it, but he was like, I'm happy at Red Bull, basically. Mm-hmm. And that's what Aston Martin said. $300 million is a crazy amount of money.
That's absurd.
Crazy amount of money.
That's a lot of money.
I think if the thing about it is like, sure, I think paying Max Verstappen is somewhat worth it. But then when you do that, you also inflate the rest of the grid.
Yeah.
And then you're going to have someone like, I don't know, like rookies making obscene amount of money just because Max, who's at the top, has inflated the market so much. That's what usually happens with like basketball and football. So it'll be interesting to see if it also happens in F1. But that's it.
Hasn't it already happened a little bit?
Yeah, sure.
Sure. No, okay, maybe not. Right.
No, it has.
Just asking.
But the funny thing is, I think I did see somewhere that Fernando Alonso commented. He's like, the rumors are going out that Max is going to join Aston Martin. And he's like, well, I doubt we'll ever be teammates. And so, at the very least, he recognizes he will be the one to go.
Yo, he's like, whip.
So,
Daddy is not getting rid of his son.
Speaking of moves around the grid, it is rumored that George Russell has been in talks with Red Bull. And that Max has subsequently, once again, been in talks with Mercedes. And I bring this up actually not even to talk about that point, because, if they move, they move. But I bring this up to talk about James Vowles deciding he wants to be a messy-ass bitch. Yet again.
Jimmy.
Yes. So let me pull up the quote from James Vowles. So it was like people were talking about like, oh, Max moved to Mercedes, Max to Mercedes, right? Williams team boss James Vowles said this.
Who asked
I think
him?
There's more. They were just asking him like in an interview, like, oh, like there's so many team moves, like Max, like they're saying that if he wants an out from Red Bull, he could go to Mercedes. And during press on Friday, James Vowles said, I think there's more performance to be added through Max. I don't think anyone in the room would deny that he's extraordinary in what he can do, and Japan was, for me, jaw-dropping. Well done to him, but he comes with a lot of downsides as well. that we have to acknowledge. And I think that what Mercedes does have is a great culture with two drivers that are delivering near to the peak of the car and with one that's on the way up. So I don't think that's a place for him. You know, and is he being as messy as he could be? No. We've seen the Mercedes alumni be far, far messier.
Yes. Not the Mercedes alumni.
I just think that it is very funny that James Vowles, of all people, is talking about, like, well, there's culture and team downsides to having Max Verstappen. And I'm like, were you not just slob-knobbing all over Carlos Sainz's knob to get him on this team? When Carlos Sainz, notable...
Slob-knobbing is...
notable detriment to team culture. Like, I'm so sorry. The Sainz camp is known for being so horrible team culture-wise to, like, the entire vibe of the team. That, like, saying that when you tried to sign... when you, like, begged Carlos Sainz to join your team is absolutely laughable. Like, this is the same man who is blatantly like paying press to say that he's helping turn Williams around when he has contributed 5 points to Williams' pay total versus Alex Albon. Like, I don't think you can make arguments about making hiring decisions based on team culture. Like, I'm so sorry, James. That's not the position you're in, buddy.
Well,
I don't know. James Vowles seems like he's... I don't know. I feel like he just always wants to get in the mix and always wants to throw his 2 cents. Like, hey, don't forget about me.
Well, I think that they do ask him about Mercedes-related news.
Yeah, they do, obviously.
Because he's an ex... He's that guy. Valtteri, it's James, you know?
Yeah.
So, like... It's just interesting.
I get it, but sometimes you could always just say, no comment.
You could also always just say, like, who knows what's going to happen, like... But that's not the Mercedes alumni way.
You could also just not say anything.
Yeah, that's not the Mercedes way. They love to be messy bitches who live for the drama.
2 bad bitches.
All right, well, now that we've covered news and we've covered fashion, what little there was, we can hit quali, which I actually, to go against our normal assertions of quali, I thought this quali was good.
Oh! I thought it was pretty good.
I thought it was a good quali. I thought it was a good quali.
Especially in comparison to what we've had.
Yes.
Like, there's something you could mention in each. Well, I don't know. Q2 for me was kind of a standard. But Q1, Q3, definitely interesting.
Yeah. So, Beks, do you want to talk about quali?
I mean, we can talk about quali, but I have my own. Like, Q1 was... fine. Let's see. Q1. I'm trying to think of. We had Q1, and I'm remembering. I'm remembering the fact that my dear Lewis struggled to get out of Q1, and I remember actually clutching my pearls to think that Lewis was not going to make it out of Q1 in a Ferrari. Wow. And he was going to get beaten by rookie. But who was it? He was going to get beaten by...
Was it...
3 rookies?
Yeah, it was bad.
3 rookies, a couple of Williams. I was just like, what are you doing? It was embarrassing, but he pulled it out the last minute, so I got to give him, a little bit of credit, a little bit of kudos. But, ultimately, Bortoletto came out 20, Ocon, Hulkenberg, Doohan, Stroll, which I'm trying to think was kind of standard. Everyone who came out in Q1 usually comes out in Q1. But Stroll did set a new record with the most Q1 exits with 75.
That's just so insane, man.
Which I know.
Do we know who he overtook? Like, do we know who had?
I can look up real quick. But I was just like, I didn't because I don't know. Stroll is very sneaky. Like sometimes he'll make it top 10 in qualifying, or sometimes he'll even finish like top 10 in the race, and you're like, oh, okay. But you don't really pay attention to Stroll sometimes.
No.
And so I didn't realize it was that many Q1 exits. And so I saw somewhere that, he was kind of blaming the car, and he was like saying, like, if you put a McLaren driver in this car, like, they could potentially have that many Q1 exits. But then I saw a graph where it compared his teammates, and I believe compared to his 75, his teammates have had about like 40 some odd Q1 exits. And then I think for making it to Q3, he had about like 40-ish. About 40 times he made it to Q3 versus his teammates having about like 60 trips to Q3. So I was just like, Stroll, I think you may have to look within, but he doesn't have to, because he doesn't have to worry about his.
He doesn't have to look within, and that's the best part.
Yeah, that's the best part. He is always going to have it.
That's why when you're rich and your daddy loves you.
Yeah, basically.
So that was kind of embarrassing for him, unfortunately. But I'm trying to think what else happened.
Not much else happened, honestly, in Q1 besides Lewis almost fucking it and the normal people getting out. And honestly, Q2, despite being like not very not being entirely boring, it was honestly the same vibe. Where it was this normal people going out and Lewis almost being taken out by multiple rookies.
Yeah, so out in Q2, we have Veerman, Hajar, Alonso, Lawson, and Albon. Again, kind of the standard. Like, we literally just had this. I was just about to say, like, it was actually a very good qualifying session, but it was pretty much the same people fighting for the same positions that they always were. But it was a little bit interesting. And then in Q3...
we get into the actual...
And then Q3 is when it really started to heat up. Beginning of Q3, Lando freaking Norris decides to crash. Well, he didn't decide, but he crashed. Lando crashes, bringing out a red flag in quality.
I feel so strongly about it that I titled our last episode
What?
He has a Q problem. And you can't have a Q3 problem when you're fighting for the championship. I'm so sorry. You can't have a Q3 problem. Like, you just can't. Like, you need to be able to put it all together when it counts. And, like, as much as we like to be like, oh my god, they almost got out in Q1, but, like, it doesn't matter. It matters what you do in Q3 if you're there.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, you can't... Why on your banker lap are you riding the curb like this? It's a banker lap. You're supposed to set a lap time that will get you pretty much where you're supposed to go, and then see how you can tweak it on that second lap. Why are you up on the curb like this on your banker lap?
The commentators were even saying it. Rookie, like, not necessarily rookie mistake, but just like
rookie mistake.
Yeah.
No, I think, like I said, I was just like, last year, the big thing with Lando was that, he would get on pole and then he couldn't keep his position in lap one. That was just like the running joke with Lando. But now I feel like he just, like, I don't know if regressing is the right term I'm looking for, but it feels like at this point he should be moving in the opposite direction. He should be making, obviously he's not going to be mistake free, but these are silly, stupid mistakes that you just shouldn't be making as someone who's, like, literally was leading the Drivers' Championship.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. But I mean, they all make mistakes, but it just seems a little foolish, that's all.
Like, they all make mistakes, but, like, if you want to be a top-notch winner, you can't make this many mistakes, and you can't make the same mistake over and over again.
Not on a regular basis.
I think that's what it is. It's the fact that he keeps on messing up his qualifying. Like, you have the fastest car out here, but yet how many times has he been on pole? Once?
I think once or twice. And this is a thing that I think, like, is, like, whenever you're talking to a Lando supporter online,
why would you do that?
I try not to. My feed keeps pushing them to me. They always talk about, like, he just made a mistake. He just this, he just that. It's like, when you are trying to be world championship caliber, you have to make improvements and optimizations to make yourself as flawless as possible.
Yeah, but that's a difference between Lando and a world champion.
Yeah, we have seen Max Verstappen fuck up, like crash-wise, one quali lap at Jeddah in 2021. And we have never seen that man spin a wheel out into a wall ever again.
Once was enough.
Because he was on for possibly the best qualifying lap in recent memory.
That's a shame.
And he went, can't happen again. Just can't happen again. And it's like, I also think that it's unfortunate because I think that when people talk about like Lando making all these mistakes, it is clear that for Lando, this is like mildly a mental fortitude thing. And I think that when you get into the mental fortitude argument, you accidentally dip into the same pool that like crazy people who think that Lando being anxious is like a disqualifying aspect for him to be successful in life. And it's like, I'm not talking about what you weirdos are talking about, where you're trying to make it out like Lando having anxiety is like a problem, right? Peace and love to Lando. Can't take any Xannies, so I really hope the therapy is keeping him locked in and intact, you know?
Okay.
But you do have to be able to pull it together when the moment counts. And yes. I don't think that that is a mental fortitude thing, the way that those people are talking about it. I think sometimes you gotta lock in. You gotta lock in, and he has a locking in problem. Like, he has a locking in problem. Well and truly does. And I think that that's something he's gonna have to work on if he wants to not continue to be showed up.
Was it one of you last week who said he makes it to Q3 and then he just, like, does what the fuck ever? Like, he lets it go. Like, he's Go ahead.
On cruise control. I feel like he gets on cruise control and he just feels like, I have the fastest car. I can get there.
He's lying ass.
He knows he has the fastest car.
Mm-hmm.
He just does. I don't like. You just know that. Like there's like time.
I have a very specific opinion on Lando in this whole fastest car debate because he insists on telling all of us, everyone who will listen, that he does not have the fastest car.
Yes.
And I think well and truly what it is, which I think is what doesn't help, is Lando, when he hears fastest car, he doesn't hear what we're all talking about, which is the machinery with which you are using to propel your body around the track.
Mm-hmm.
He hears the bubble that contains me and my car. That is the car that you guys are talking about. And when I'm in the McLaren, I don't go the fastest. I struggle to keep it under control. So why do you keep telling me I have the fastest car? Obviously, Ferrari and Red Bull are super close to us. Look at how Max almost outqualifies me every weekend. So that's giving him a lack of confidence because when he thinks fastest car, he thinks of him and his car as the entity that is the car that they're talking about. When it's like, you have a problem because you don't think that you have the fastest car because you're including yourself in the car argument. If you understood that you have the fastest piece of machinery under you and the only thing stopping you from trouncing everybody but your teammate every weekend is locking the fuck in, I think it would help. But I think watching somebody in what any reasonable person would say is a drastically inferior car use like skill and talent and experience to make up the difference makes him feel like shit.
Well, he should.
I don't think it helps him when he gets to Q3 and he feels like shit, knowing, even if I have the fastest car, there's a good chance Max and George are going to be on my ass. Yeah, I don't think it helps him, but I think that he needs to lock the fuck in, accept that you have the fastest car, and figure out how to make the fastest car work for you.
It's like Lando plays head games with himself.
And hey,
he does.
Been there, done that, King. She's got to lock in. I'm not a Formula One driver. I can play mental games with myself laying in my bed all day. I'm not being paid millions to put a minute and a half on the board.
Well.
Like, you gotta lock in. You gotta get it together.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, Lando crashes out at the beginning, so then it's just Max, George, and Oscar fighting for pole.
Yeah, and it was actually nice because so I think Oscar was like on tentative pole first.
Mm-hmm.
Then no, I take that back. Max. Because Max went out first. Max went out quick, right?
Max went out quick, and then I think Oscar got him, and then George got him, and then Oscar got George back, and then George couldn't get Oscar back, and then Max got Oscar.
Yeah, it was I
by 1/1000th of a second. That's crazy.
Watching the end of quality in my car, and I was like, "Oh, Oscar got it! Woo! Oh,
wait a minute."
Because I think it was like, oh, George, and I was like, oh, George is probably not going to hold on to Oscar and Max are there. So I really didn't feel any type of way about George. No offense to him, like I just kind of know him and the car's capabilities. And then I saw Oscar got it, and I was like, I was pretty certain, because I looked up, 0 on the clock. And then I looked back at the screen, and I saw Max was still driving. I was like, ooh. I was like, Oscar's time was really good. But then I saw Max had a purple first sector, and I was like, hell. Here he comes, like the boogeyman.
And this is what I mean when I say sometimes the only thing between you and Paul is locking in. Like sitting there and being like, I'm just gonna bang out some sectors and we're gonna see what happens. Max in his post interview, when they were like, when did you know that the car could be on pole? He said, when I crossed the finish line and looked up and it was on pole. Like, I tried, like, I knew it was a long shot, but I locked in. And I was like, this is honestly a locking in championship to me. Well, like, I think this is gonna be a championship about who locked in when.
Well,
and
to be honest, I think it is. I think it is.
And I think Lando's problem is that Max, lock-in king. Max loves to lock in when he wants to lock in.
I
and
also
Oscar
think he stays.
Loves to lock in. Oscar loves to fuck around and then be like, we're in. We're censored.
Oscar is, I think Lando's always ha he joking around. But yeah, I think especially now Lando has lost his lead.
Yeah.
I guess we can talk about that a little bit later, but Lando
lost his lead
in the Drivers' Championship. So I think this is going to be the biggest. I think the next 5 or so races are going to actually really show what Lando has. Yeah. And you know what's so crazy to me? What is so crazy? I was like, I was putting notes or whatever, and I have all the the GPs listed in the tabs. And I was like, this is only the 5th race. I feel like this has been a very long season already.
Yes.
And it is only race number 5.
It's only race number... How the fuck do we have 19 more... 19 more races? There's 24. How do we have 19 more races?
Y'all might not be getting filler episodes.
I don't think they'll get filler episodes, podcast listeners.
I don't.
Maybe over summer break. Maybe,
yeah. Well,
but to me, Lando reads as one of those people, and it's very tragic because I hope homie's in therapy for this. He reads to me as one of those people who is simultaneously his biggest fan and has mind-numbing confidence issues at the exact same time. Where it's you back yourself, but you're not confident you're backing them. And so it doesn't end up panning out for you because you're no, I can totally do this. But
I feel like he's the guy who fake it till you make it, but he's actually not making it. So he's just yeah, you got this, and he has no faith that he actually
just faking it.
Yeah. That's it. So I would say fingers crossed he locks in, but I actively want Max or Oscar to win the championship. So if he doesn't lock in, I'm fine with that.
I'm rooting for
Oscar.
I would
love Oscar to win.
Not rooting for Max. Sorry, man.
Wow, really?
Shocker.
Gas. All right. Let's get into it. We can get into the actual race. And I feel it's important that since most of the race focused on the outcomes of what happened in turn 1, we might as well spend some time talking about what happened in turn 1.
Oh, well.
I feel like the entire race was basically about what happened in turn 1.
A lovely game of chicken.
To be honest, which I think it's... Side note, real quickly. I don't know if this is anything that they can actually... any rule that they can implement. But when you have a race like last week's race, which was Bahrain, where you had so many different tire strategies, so many pit stop strategies going on, which made it for such an interesting race. Then we come back to Saudi Arabia, and it's just like the same tire strategy, same pit stop, one stop strategy, and like it kind of makes the race boring. Like, sure, there's like little intricacies in racing in the race that makes it interesting, but overall, like I did really appreciate, and I kind of missed the chaos of the Bahrain GP.
I think that this all goes back to my original idea of
Tires.
make those tires blow the fuck up if you race too much.
Oh yeah, you did say that.
Make them shits explode, a la Lewis riding on those 3 tires, and make it so that unless you're 30 seconds ahead of your opponent, you're absolutely screwed if your tire blows up. Like,
yeah.
Then I bet you they'll change them tires. I bet you they'll change those tires. If a hard can only last you like half a race distance, and a medium can only last you a third of a race distance before like you're really pressing that it's gonna blow up. Mm-hmm. You basically have to have everybody who opts to not have 2 stops at least. We're gonna get something exciting because those tires are gonna blow up.
Yeah, I just think like just kind of comparing the two back-to-back races. You know, I'm just like, it was so good. It was so interesting. And it kept you on your toes, even like with a race that didn't necessarily have a lot of like we kind of got the typical people on the podium, you know, your standard people in the midfield, but it still made for like a very interesting race. And so, yeah, that's all. But we can kind of jump into Saudi.
All right, let's jump into Saudi. We have our turn 1 dramatic situation, which is essentially Oscar and Lando went wheel to wheel in the first corner, with Max cutting the corner and Oscar like almost going off track with him, but like he managed to keep one wheel in. Yeah. TLDR, because we spent a lot of time on this in the race, and I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it here. Mm-hmm. Max got a 5-second penalty for leaving the track and gaining an advantage.
Yes.
Hip hip. Hooray.
Hooray.
I honestly was so conflicted because on one hand, really, Beks? You weren't like, yes, Beks, we know. But I'm gonna mute you eventually. Like, I was so conflicted because on one hand, like, I totally see the vision for him getting the penalty because, like, he did lead the track and gain an advantage.
Yes.
On the other hand, I am kind of with Red Bull that I don't think Oscar was making that corner. Like, I don't think Oscar had any intention of making that corner the normal way, and Max, like, went around him because, like, Max wanted to. Like, Oscar kept a wheel in by the grace of God. And keeping a wheel in is all you need.
Yes.
To be it. So, like the penalty's deserved. But, like, I think the argument that Oscar was going to make the corner is, like, absolute bullshit. Oscar was not making the corner.
Oscar was doing a little bit of Max and kind of tiptoeing the edge of the rules
but
to make it work.
I think that the thing we always complain with about FIA, like we want consistency or something. For me, to keep it consistent, your ruling can't be based on the intention of the next driver. Your ruling has to
no. Like, I agree with that. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I just think it's really funny that, like, McLaren's argument is like, I was going to make the corner and then Max just cut it. And I'm like, I know you have to make that. No, you have to make that argument. Yeah. I'm saying me, a viewer, can look at the way Oscar was going and go like, oh, you weren't
find it laughable.
You weren't making that corner either. Like, both of you were not making that corner. And if you had been 5 inches to the right, both of y'all would have just been off track, and it would have all just been tea. Like,
they both decided they want to just throw their car down the track and see what happens.
Like that. They both decided to just throw their car down the track. Oscar just happened to be on the inside when it happened, and that's perfectly fine. That's the benefit of being on pole in Jeddah, is that you have that piece of the track for you. But, like, it was just really funny when he was like, I would have made the corner, and I'm like, no, you wouldn't have.
No, I was making that corner. He said I was making that corner. He was just there.
It's like, that's not what I did. But that's okay, Oscar. I respect your hustle. I respect your grind. What I also respect, and by respect, I mean kind of, but also I get so upset when they do it. What? Red Bull, I think, has a policy that they don't give positions back. I've noticed that the Red Bull does not give positions back.
Is it Red Bull or is it just Max?
That's a good question. I have never seen Red Bull give a position back since since I've been watching. Mm-hmm. Even when Checo, I've never seen Checo give a position back. I don't recall it, at least.
Question: if Max was to have given the position back, would he have not gotten the time penalty?
So this is also the critical thing. Okay. Because bitches behind Max and Oscar. Let me find the specific people. Gasly and Tsunoda. My
yes. Well,
because they collided, which led to a safety car. I think that's where this argument gets a little bit complicated.
But they said it was just a racing incident.
It was a racing incident. But you can't overtake under a safety car.
Ah, yes.
So when was Max supposed to give it back?
At the restart.
They'd given him the penalty by the restart.
Oh, yeah, okay.
They gave the penalty during the safety car. So, he was under investigation during the safety car, and once you're under investigation, it's basically your window to give it back has passed, and we're just going to penalize you if we find you to be penalty worthy. And so that was my thing, where I was like, was Max ever going to give that place back? Absolutely fucking not. So, it doesn't matter in this specific case, because Max wasn't giving the place back, right? Red Bull was always going to eat the 5-second thing, and then just adjust their strategy around the 5-second penalty. I think that is Red Bull's call that they generally make, especially on tracks like this, is that they'd rather adjust their strategy to accommodate an extra 5 seconds than lose track position and lose the clean air, right? But I don't understand when the FIA wanted Max to give back that position. Because a safety car came out 15 seconds after the turn one cutting thing happened.
Yeah.
And then they put him under investigation during the safety car. So even if he had given it back after the safety car restart, he was going to get the penalty. Yeah. So it's I think that you should have left him a one lap after the safety car to give it back. And then when you see he's not giving it back, get got. It's still in the first stint. When we give this 5-second penalty, it actually doesn't matter because it's not pit stop time yet.
I have a question, though, that Max threw out about his penalty. He was saying that... what's it? Who's race control? No, who are the people that they do with the drivers' conference with? The stewards. That he wasn't penalizing them for something or going off at turn one. Was that it?
Yeah. So when they go to different tracks, it's not that there's different rules, but it's the way that you there's the rules are sometimes up to interpretation. So technically, if you cut a corner during a racing incident or during lap one where there's a whole bunch of people, technically that flags you for track limits because all 4 of your tires are off the track.
Yes.
But oftentimes the stewards will be if you go off track because there's a car right next to you, or you go off track in lap one or at a specific corner where if you're fighting wheel to wheel, going off track is mostly a safety thing, then it's not gonna count towards your track limit thing. Gotcha. And they decide on that, they communicate that in the driver's briefing, and what's communicated in the driver's briefing, if it is a clarification on the rules, supersedes the vague version of the rules. And so that's what Max was saying, was in the driver's briefing, they said this corner didn't count towards track limits in this situation, so if they try, if I end up getting 3 strikes and they try to penalize me, it's fighting. We're fighting because you said this didn't count. But yeah, Max gets his 5-second penalty. Red Bull, I think, is a point of pride, does not give places back. So, T. But we ended up having a safety car for Gasly and Tsunoda, which was just a racing incident. They're still besties.
It was just an incident.
Just an incident. Yeah. And after lap 4, the safety car went back in. Max got his penalty, but he held on to the lead, so he was racing in clear air. And I saw a question from one of you, don't remember who it was,
it's
talking about dirty air versus clean air.
I've seen it so much this season.
I can explain this to you.
And so I was wondering has it always been an issue? Why is it being brought up so many times? And I've also heard someone say that this is going to be a dirty air championship.
Yes. So I can explain this to you as the resident chemical engineer.
Okay.
Do your best work, my friend.
When you are building a car, and you're trying to optimize the aerodynamics of it, there are two types of air the car will experience.
Mm-hmm.
There's laminar flow air.
Mm-hmm.
That's air that's moving smoothly and calmly. Yes. Think of like when you see like airflow diagrams over cars and it's like nice, smooth, connected lines. Laminar airflow. Heard. Then there's turbulent airflow. That's when you see the flow over the cars. It's like mixed up and it's wild and it's moving like this, right? Laminar airflow works well with the aerodynamics of cars and works well with the way that you build a car because ideally, like as you see in the flow diagrams, the air moves laminarly over the car.
Yeah.
Turbulent air fucks with your aerodynamics because you're not building your car to operate ideally under turbulent air because then you're ignoring the actual air you're normally racing in. Dirty air is functionally extremely turbulent air, and so it fucks with your aerodynamics, it fucks with your like tire wear, it like basically fucks with the way your car operates, so it's much harder to operate in a like good window. And what happens is the laminar air comes off the car in front of you that's doing its normal thing. And then it all comes together behind the car and gets all mixed up and turbulent. And so then when you are behind the car, if you're close enough, it doesn't have time to smooth itself back out and like become normal airflow. It's still kind of mixed up and dirty from coming off of the other car in front of you. And so it hits your car and your car experiences extremely turbulent air. And so you can't like race the way that your car is optimally designed to. And so like your tires are going to wear down faster because you're having to use more of the tire to stay gripped. Like it's basically a mess for your car. The
basically
reason
like wind turbulence in an airplane.
Exactly. The reason why, and like example, wind turbulence messes with like the uplift of a plane and makes it shake. Dirty air messes with the downforce of a car because the cars are reverse planes. And the
reverse planes.
they are reverse planes. And the reason it's being brought up so much is two things. One, the regulations that they're currently under were supposedly supposed to make it easier to, one, make it easier to race in dirty air, and subsequently make it more difficult for cars to put off dirty air. Like basically like the way it was set up made it so that the air wasn't as turbulent coming off your car. Obviously that is not the fucking case. And that is not what has occurred in these regulations, because you have teams still making cars that if you try to follow them at 1.5, like within DRS, you're absolutely screwed for the majority of your lap because you're getting so much dirty air.
Do they ever construct their cars to intentionally give off dirtier air?
I believe yes, and that is what the regulations were supposed to prevent them from doing. And I think the argument being made by a lot of fans is that clearly the teams found a way around whatever the FIA had put in place to make that happen. And so you have cars that like are still putting off a ton of dirty air.
Well.
So to answer the questions, that's what dirty air is. It is technically always an issue because of the way the airflow works. But there are aerodynamic things that I believe you can do to make it more of an issue that the FIA supposedly tried to curb and that did not. Like, basically didn't happen.
Okay.
Is that the issue with flexi wings? No.
No, the issue with flexi wings is that you're not supposed to have active aerodynamics on your car.
Right. Yes.
Like the way you set up your car to operate aerodynamically is supposed to be a decision and not something that you can like adjust in the moment.
Manipulate. Okay. Yeah. Heard.
All right. Well, I'm glad I could
thank you for the
lesson.
Yeah. Appreciate that.
But yeah, we have Yuki and Pierre crashing. RIP. We still keep our 100% safety car record at Jeddah. Max eventually will lose the lead to Oscar because of course he will. That McLaren is a rocket ship built by the devil.
Okay. Well.
As we very well know. And I would like to highlight Alex Albon and his radios. So I want to make it clear. I want to make it super clear because I've seen people dragging my man Alex. Alex got feedback from like Williams, that he should be more like open and transparent and like just tell it how it is, you know, so that we can fix the car.
Yes.
So I want the record to show that this is Alex telling them how it is. Another funny Alex radio that I think we need to add to the book is they asked him to take care of his brakes because they might overheat, and he said, "Do you not see there's a car directly behind me?"
Hello. He said, excuse me.
Yes.
I like sassy Alex.
I do love sassy Alex. And so I also want to call out, because up next we have the Lando and Lewis debacle, which is
it really a debacle?
It's a debacle because I think that it shows that Lando needs a little bit of racecraft work. So, listeners, as you may have assumed from our review of Q3, Lando crashes in like the first 30 seconds of Q3, so he qualifies P10. And he is making his way up, and he comes upon Lewis, who's in P6. Now, at Jeddah, which I think is one of the things I like a lot about Jeddah, because it shows you who's like thinking about the track and who is just like, I need to go fast and I need to get ahead and I need to win. Is that Jeddah has a DRS detection point that is like a good chunk away from where its DRS zone is. And so there is every chance that you pass somebody before the DRS detection zone and give them DRS, or there's every chance that you stay behind them at the DRS detection point, pass them right after, and then get some extra DRS to carry you away. Right? Lando, of course, against Lewis, 7-time world champion Hamilton. Let Lewis play him, was it twice? 3 times? A lot of times. With this little DRS trick where he would pass Lewis right before the DRS point. Lewis would let him pass him, and then use DRS to immediately pass Lando back in the next DRS zone.
Yes.
And I think that it took Lando's engineer getting on the radio and going, stop passing him before the DRS point. For Lando to not do that and then finally
stop
it.
It was like 2 or 3 times. I was just like, what is he? Because to be honest, I found out about that afterwards. I wasn't picking up on that. I was like, why does Lando, why can't he keep his position ahead of Lewis?
Yeah.
And I was like, Lewis keeps on.
Lewis is just having fun.
I don't know about that, but he just keeps going right around it. And I was like, why is he not just, anyway, that's when I was just getting confused watching the two of them.
Yeah. One of the most notable clips from Jeddah is, and I believe it is Jeddah, there might be other tracks that also operate this way that I'm thinking of, is Charles doing this to Max like 4 times back in, I want to say like 2020 something.
Really?
Yeah, Charles did, like, it is one of the most famous Charles Max clips, is Charles doing this to Max over and over and over, until eventually Max was like, you know what? I'm going to just let this man stay in front of me. And I'm going to pass him in the DRS zone. I'm going to stop trying to pass him on the corner. I'm just going to pass him in the DRS zone, which is exactly what you need to do. And so I'm like, if I'm a racing driver, girl, if you don't look up Saudi Arabia GP highlights and start studying some film, okay, look at what the bitches before you have done.
What? Right. Wouldn't their engineers have warned them about that before they, or at least the first or second?
It's like a very notable fact of of Jeddah's track too.
Maybe they assume you've done your homework.
I mean,
a poor assumption. Unless you're Kimi Antonelli, we know he does his homework.
Oh, Kimi,
that poor baby.
Yeah,
precious.
I love it. Well, that was a really convenient segue to us being able to do our Rookie
Roundup.
That was
all right. How did our rookies do? I mean, we talked about Kimi, so we can start with Kimi. I feel like Kimi did good.
He had, like, I think, what did he come in? 7?
Kimi got points again. 4th.
6th.
I'm sorry. Why did I say 4th? 6th.
4th.
I don't know why I said 4th. 6th. I don't know why I said 4th. But he got points again.
He did. We're very proud.
I'm very proud.
He is the only other rookie besides Hodger to get points at Jeddah. So we love that for him.
And Isaac, I love him.
Yes, love that. So they both got points. Kimmy did great. He was like pretty close to George too. So honestly, snaps for him. We love to see the rookie putting it to their teammate.
Come on.
We had Liam Lawson pointless in 12th.
Well, what did we expect?
We had Ollie also
Sorry.
in 13th.
And then we had the best weekend for Ollie, but not too bad.
Not too. He's in a Haas. Honestly, he's in a Haas.
He's in a Haas.
He's in a Haas, and he was one position ahead of his teammate
and beat his teammate.
Exactly. And then we have Jack Doohan and Gabriel Bortoleto.
Oh,
who got left. I can't even see how many seconds they were behind Oscar because they got left.
I think for me, I don't know why Bortoleto. I just I don't think he's going to be on the grid next year. Unfortunately,
no. Neither do I. I don't think Audi's keeping him. No way.
Yeah, Audi's not. Nah. Him. But like for Jack, I really want him to do because right now isn't his like these are his 5 races basically.
That was actually just about to bring up. These were his 5 races.
Oh, yeah, and he didn't score any points, and I'm like super worried about him. Like Alpine's probably gonna try and bring back what's his name. What is his name?
Sorry, oh my God, Colapinto.
Thank you. And I liked Colapinto. Don't get me wrong, but I also feel like Jack hasn't been given a fair shake. But I guess I did kind of crap on Liam Lawson and like not getting his fair shake or whatever. I don't know. I just feel like Jack 5 races is not enough 5 races in a flippin' Alpine is not enough of a a proper statistical report.
Especially in a race where your teammate didn't even finish.
That's true.
I don't think, but I don't know if that's a good measure because Pierre Gasly has been beating him these 5 races.
Yeah.
So it's like, sure, he finished above his teammate after his teammate crashed. So, But yeah,
I tried to give him something.
I don't want to hear next week that, he's going to be switched out for Colapinto and going to be a reserve driver or something like that.
That's probably exactly what we're going to be hearing next week.
I could see it, but, I don't know. Would they want to do that before Miami?
Possibly.
Maybe. I don't know.
I'm new continent, new lineup.
Oh. No, I don't know. I was trying to think of like if that's your goal, if you want to bring in Colapinto, I'm trying to think of when would be the best time. But you could. Is Colapinto Italian? Let me see.
He is. No, Argentina.
He's Argentinian. Because I was going to say, after Miami, it's Emilia. It's the what's the race in Italy? I always forget.
Monza.
Is it Monza or is it Spa?
Spa
No, it's Spa. It's Spa. Wait, is it Spa?
What?
Anyway, yeah.
I thought it was Monza. What's Monza?
I'm getting them all confused. It's not Spa. I don't know why I said Spa.
What track are you guys trying to figure out?
Ignore us. I don't know. We're just rambling.
I leave for 30 seconds, so y'all can't pull it.
No. Okay. So what I was saying is that I was thinking, I was like, what's the next race after Miami? Trying to figure out if Colapinto was Italian. So I was like, maybe they don't bring him back in Miami. They wait till the next race. But he's not. He's Argentinian. But he's Argentinian. So my whole point doesn't even matter at all. Just rambling. No. But I said it was Spa. It's not Spa.
What? Okay.
Let it go. Just let it go.
Let it go. It's Emilia Romagna after.
Yeah. There you go.
So it's just the Italian Grand Prix.
Yes.
Oh, it's Imola. I knew it was like a name. Never mind. Go ahead.
Yeah. Anyways.
Shut up.
I think did. Oh, sorry.
I think it was overall. It was like a meh type of week. Wasn't great. Wasn't. We had 3 rookies score points, but
2.
Isaac, Kimmy. That's it.
Oh, I don't know why I thought there was another one in there. Sorry, my bad.
Nope.
No. Oh, you probably thought Ollie had gotten up there.
But he
I definitely knew Ollie.
Poor baby.
Anyway, so after our rookie review, our rookies are doing
Also,
great.
the Williams is where they came up.
They're trying to be the best of the rest. So
I'm trying to be the best. I have the Williams as part of my post-race thoughts.
okay.
Oh, okay.
So
that's what the silence was.
yes, I have the Williams as part of my post-race thoughts.
Heard. Continue.
So after our rookie review, we could tap back in. I want to say it halfway through the sitch. People are pitting. People are getting new tires. Max has served his penalty.
Yes.
And then we have Piastri, fresh on new tires. Oh, sorry, not fresh on new tires. Not on new tires. I don't think. Maybe fresh on new tires? Who knows? Do
Oscar?
I know? No.
Wait, did Oscar?
Yeah, Oscar fresh on new tires after lap 20. Oscar fresh on new tires makes a dazzling overtake on our king, Lewis Hamilton.
Yep.
May he rest in peace in that Ferrari.
Sorry, babes.
I think I was kind of talking to y'all about this earlier, but I think I may have
Beks.
You know what? I've decided throughout our recording, I'm taking a sabbatical
From
a pause from my Lewis Hamilton fandom because I don't know what it was last year. Mercedes, we were in the trenches with Mercedes, like guns up, like F Mercedes. I truly believe this is Lewis's fault, and he has lost some of his mojo. And I am never ever supported a loser. And
listen, wow. Okay, wait.
And it hurts my heart to say this, but you are getting beat by a rookie who basically took your spot. Or you gave him your spot. I don't know how everyone. You're getting out-qualified by a Williams. Sir. You get in. They basically doing a little Harlem Shake on you.
Beks, what are you on tonight?
Like, it is like, are you not embarrassed? Are you not embarrassed?
Crying after the race, I do think that he
is embarrassed.
I know
that, and he hides his face.
And the thing about it is, it's like, I know everyone's like, oh, I read somewhere like he's struggling to like figure out the little quirks of the car and like the quirks of the car are not really compatible with how he drives, and so he's like trying to figure out like how to adjust his driving.
I mean, he's been driving with the same people for how many years?
But I also am like,
he drove with Mercedes for like 10 years, right?
Exactly.
Almost,
10 years of a car, of getting used to an engineering team, a design, or whatever, of one team, and then you got to go to a whole different car. That's crazy.
I mean,
you're mighty quick to jump off the bandwagon.
No, I've been here. We've been doing this for I don't know how long. But what I am saying is, I'm looking at you like this.
What? Inside my eye.
With my eye wide open.
Yes.
Because, I can't be sitting up here. I was criticizing Alonso last week. Criticizing all the other, and I can't criticize my king. So sorry.
The thing is, Beks, I think that what is hurting you is you are a rational person, so you're just a Lewis fan. I think life would be easier for you if you were a Lewis stan, because then you don't have to abide by the laws of rationality and logic. You're a stan. Stans don't do that. Like, that's not their job. Their job is delusion and hypocrisy. So I think that you need to decide, are you going to dive full in and just accept hypocrisy and become a stan? Or are you going to give up when the going gets tough?
I am not a stan. I just constantly root for everybody black. Just saying. Go ahead.
You can be a black people stan. And then you can be hypocritical as you want, just on a more carte blanche.
I don't know yet, right? Stan, I need to see some more work before I can give my... Because I thought I was on a stan train, but I guess I'm not.
Oh.
You don't ride deep.
This behavior is very unbecoming.
Stan would never say what you said today.
Beks is not a ride or die.
I surely am not. I can tell y'all that. I am not a ride or die. Never have been, never will be.
Cut the shit.
So no, I just think I am just a little disappointed. I guess you could say maybe that's where I think I had such high hopes. He's finally leaving the cesspool that was Mercedes. Leaving behind the Wicked Witch of the West, and moving on to greener pastures. It's just like we got all this beautiful promo and the Ferrari, and it was and this is what I was excited for.
I was just editing that video of you talking about their strategy, and I was like, they really did make all that hubbub and then hit us with this.
Hit us with nothing.
Like they're not even trying. No one's trying. I think that's what actually makes me mad, that no one's trying. And then do you know when let me actually pause real quick. Do you know when I actually gave up? When I actually gave up, and I'm like, it's just sort of coming to a realization now. I actually gave up when those two were disqualified. Second race of the year. That's
and you I was like, there's going to be more disqualifications.
Yeah. Do you know what? That's what it was. I think it was the disqualification and the explanation. And it was not even like, oh no, they were wrong, blah, 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 blah. Like, do you know what? In that situation, this is so crazy. I want a total whoop for Christian Horner, who's going to go balls to the wall in their delusion that I was wrong. But no, we got Fred being like, them's the breaks. Guess what? It may happen again. So what are we doing here? Why are we even getting up to go race? If that's a possibility that they can get disqualified for any race, my friend, why am I getting up? Let's just disqualify ourselves from the get-go. Don't even waste time. Don't waste fuel. Don't waste energy. No pollution. Let's stay home.
This is what I'm always saying. Christian Horner may be the devil. He may be the devil. Yeah. But God damn it, at least the devil's a member of his community. At least he has a job. Like, Christian...
A member of his community is crazy.
You don't know the sound that I'm referencing. I'll send you the meme that I'm referencing.
Oh my God.
Christian would never, as we're going to talk about after this race, he would never let Max go out like that.
And the fact of the matter is, even if, like, Christian Horner, and even Toto to an extent, like, they both know when they fucked up. Yes. They both know when the driver is wrong. They'll be like, what? I don't even know. What? I don't even know. I can't see. And you're like...
They've made themselves, experts in this so that they can figure their way around.
Then we have Fred. Well...
It is what it is.
And it may happen again.
All right. Well, let's get through this race review because we've actually got a good chunk of post-race content. First up for the rest of this race review for me is Bortoletto almost crashing out Alonso, his manager.
That's hilarious.
Well, didn't the commenter say, like, oh, maybe Alonso's going to ask for, like, an extra 5% just for that?
Exactly. And Alonso, after the race, was like, maybe no dinner for him on the plane home.
Bad dog, bad.
I thought that was really funny. But I don't think anything else crazy happened until we get to the end, where we have the McLaren nonsense, because... Of course,
there's always McLaren nonsense.
Always have had some nonsense. To set the stage, Norris, I don't think has pitted yet. He is on the hards and he is extending. He is now leading the race because everybody else has pitted. Everybody else who matters has pitted.
Yes.
And he has Oscar behind him, working it out for the win. Lando still has to pit, so I want to be very clear. Lando is going to end up behind Oscar anyway.
Regardless.
And Oscar starts going like, hey guys, dirty air, I'm the person who's going to win anyway. If y'all could clear this man out my way so that I can not fuck up my tires and not have Max almost get me, that would be great. And there's a little bit of back and forth from McLaren because they're like, oh, he's extending his stint. And Oscar's like, cool, but...
Y'all are fucking me over.
I'm the bitch who's going to win. Like,
I don't give a fuck about his stint.
Who cares about his potential podium? I'm going
fuck
to win.
Your stint.
Like, factually, I'm going to win. Who cares? And this has been a point of discussion because Lando and Oscar fans love to tussle, and I say they love to tussle. Lando fans love to tussle, and Oscar fans love to defend Oscar. And a lot of the commentary was like, McLaren fucked up, like not letting Lando extend. Lando could have extended, and it would have I was like,
and done what?
Done what? He had to pit anyway. He might as well pit in a way that works for the guy who's trying to win. Like,
because by regulation, he had to stop.
Yeah, he had to pit. So
that's crazy.
Queen, he was always gonna end up where he was gonna end up. Yeah. And then, Norris tries to fight Leclerc. Leclerc's beep boop bopping, doing what he's gonna do. Fighting, defending, putting the Ferrari places it shouldn't be going.
Well.
And we end up rounding out with a Piastri win,
mm-hmm.
a Max
number
2, and a Leclerc number 3. And honestly, this
first
is
Ferrari podium of the year.
Yes, this is one of my ideal podiums.
I do like this podium.
Obviously, I'd prefer Lewis on the podium, but this is great for me.
I'm not mad at this podium.
I love Max.
I'm not mad at this podium.
I love Charles.
I do love Charles and I do love Oscar. Max has grown on me, but I can't say I love him. I said he's grown. It's fine.
He is grown. But yeah, that's the race. Honestly, a good race, but nothing absolutely insane. But
I'm proud of Oscar.
Yes, Jeddah has clocked in. We now have Oscar leading the Drivers' Championship by, is it 10 points?
10 points.
10 points. And
10 points, baby.
Over at Miami.
Welcome to Miami.
Bienvenido a
Miami.
So,
not Mercedes being second in the constructors.
What upside down world are we in?
McLaren, Mercedes, Red Bull in that order. This is interesting. I hadn't looked at the constructors really before. I just pulled it up and Mercedes is right there. Interesting. Good job, Kimmy.
All right, we're gonna get into some post race. There's a couple things for post race. First is that Max was notably very upset after the race. And I think a lot of people think that Max was upset about his 5-second penalty. I don't really think that Max at that point cared about the 5-second penalty. He was annoyed, but we're pushing it. What Max was actually pissed off about, if you watch the coverage, is that after Max got out of the car, when they do that thing where they put back on their watches and they grab their water and they grab their hat, Ben Sulayem, bitch ass, decided to walk up to Max, and there wasn't a mic. There wasn't a mic. There should have been a mic. There wasn't a mic. But putting together the context clues of all the interviews that happened afterwards, it's perfectly clear that Ben Sulayem went up to Max and was like, hey, remember, I can take away championship points from you if you say things about the FIA that I don't like.
But what was he alluding to?
Max on the radio, when they gave him the 5-second penalty, was basically are these bitches fucking dumb?
Oh. Oh, yeah. Didn't the engineer
and he
say
cussed,
what did the engineer trying to get him
he
to
was like, shut
stop?
the fuck up.
Yeah.
And so, it is abundantly clear, I think, if you look at all of the press that Max has been doing and the way that he, acted about speaking in the interviews, that, and, the way he acted when MBS came up to talk to him, the MBS basically was like, hey, don't forget, if you say anything that I don't like about the FIA, I can take away championship. Exactly.
Wow.
And this entire situation is frustrating and annoying to me on many fronts. One,
go ahead.
I think having the FIA director go threaten drivers is insane.
That's crazy.
2, F1 has one of the weakest driver unions, the most backboneless, cuck-filled driver unions I've ever seen in my fucking life. Oh,
what does their driver union even really do? It's only 20 people. Anyway, go ahead.
Well, no. Because here's the thing. Other motorsports driver unions actually do things. I think it was just the rally car people. They were pissed off at some sort of steward FIA decision. And they went, cool. So we're not going to participate in none of us are participating in press. We're going to come. You're not going to hear from us. We're maybe going to race. That was up in the air.
Mm.
Do you want a sport or do you not want a sport? Because nobody tunes into the sport to not hear from us and just watch the cars go around. Like,
all they have to do is all the drivers get on Max's jet and fly away and let Ben Sulayem deal with his race.
Exactly. And I think it is frustrating and annoying to watch that. It is also frustrating and annoying because I think that it is abundantly clear to anyone with brain cells that the FIA being able to take away points for critiquing the FIA is just bad operating standard. One, why in the world would you take sporting points for critiquing the governing body?
Yeah,
that's not a sporting offense.
That's a fine.
That's a fine. And two, there are numerous occasions upon which you need to critique the governing body. Example, when they left a tractor out during the fucking Japanese Grand Prix and almost killed Pierre, and he went, why the fuck did they leave a tractor out and almost kill me?
Mind you, he already has trauma behind things like that.
That can get him championship points taken away. They already gave him a reprimand for, like, doing that, and they've basically scrubbed it from almost all coverage of that Japanese Grand Prix that year.
That's a shame.
They could take away championship points for that. So it's like, so basically, I can't say anything about this governing body.
Yes.
So when people ask me questions about my race, I can't comment on my race.
No.
What if me saying I don't like the barriers is an offense to the FIA and makes it sound like they're incompetent? I can't risk that. Why would I say anything about the race at all? It could all come back to the FIA. And I'm like, this is just so stupid because it's like the FIA does not stop making money or stop being the governing body because the drivers and the public hate it. If that was the case, they wouldn't be the governing body anymore. They would have been gone forever ago because literally nobody likes them.
Yes.
So who gives a fuck if the drivers say on air that you're stupid? Them not saying you're stupid makes you still look dumb.
Well,
Max doesn't have to call you stupid on the air to make you look stupid. Him going,
you make yourself look stupid.
Him going, I don't want to comment, makes you look dumb.
Yeah.
Because then you give reporters carte blanche to write article after article after article about why he won't say what he did, what he wants to say, instead of just letting there be one article about what Max wanted to say.
Well.
Like, it's dumb. It's Barbra Streisand affecting the entire situation to the nth degree, and it is bad PR, it is bad standard, they're dumb for it.
I just think, like,
when everyone separates from the FIA, we're throwing a party.
I think for me, the struggle is, like, I obviously like a lot of other sports, like basketball, things like that. And they basically have a rule that, like, these players, mostly, like, I'm talking specifically, like, basketball, like, you can't critique, like, the decisions the ref make. They get fined. Yeah. But, like, take the same situation. An NBA game. It comes down to a buzzer beater. A player believes that he got fouled on the buzzer beater and that blah, 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 blah. Anyway. Mm-hmm. So what is the NBA going to do? Go in the game and actually take away points?
Free throw?
Take away some points. You know, actually, you criticized us, so you know what? 2 points taken away, that other team wins. That sounds crazy.
Can you imagine if they did that?
The upheaval.
The country would go up in flames.
The upheaval.
Can you imagine the Lakers? They win by 2. Then a player was like, "Yeah, the refs, they didn't call a foul in the second quarter. They suck." They're like, "Do you know what? 3 points taken away."
Because then also
there would be riots in the street.
There would be riots. Like, it leaves so much ambiguity too. Because is the amount of points based on how severe my comment was? So if I say fuck you, it's 2 championship points, and if I say MBS is a cut, it's 10? Like, how are you deciding that fuck you is better than me calling you a cut? Is a targeted attack XYZ amount of points, and a general attack about how I think you suck 1 point? Like, do you get to decide how many points it is? And do you
what
decide?
What is the shit-talking point system? That is...
Like,
how would you measure that?
It's immeasurable. Like, the point is that it is ambiguous and vague enough that you get to hold it over everybody's heads to try and threaten them. And the problem is, they know that the very people who would critique them are also the people in the running for a championship. And so they know that those people in particular can't critique them. Like, if Lance Stroll critiques them and they take away championship points, who the fuck cares? Who cares if they take away the championship points? But they also know Lance Stroll doesn't give a fuck enough. The only people who are probably going to be critiquing them are, like, Max and Lewis at this point. And so it's like, those are the only people who care about their championship points and also are going to critique you.
Yep.
What you gonna do?
I think it's getting a little bit ridiculous.
When is the next election for the new
It's
FIA
next
president?
year, right?
I don't know.
Susie Wolf for FIA president, baby.
Go,
I better
Susie,
see my Miss Wolf
Susie, go.
in that presidential position.
Because it just needs a lot of reform for the FIA, from top to bottom. And also too, like I'm putting a lot of it on the FIA, but like you said, these F1 drivers could really, like, y'all hold all the power, but yet are not wielding it.
Boycott a motherfucking race.
Lock in. Go back to, like, I forgot what year was it, 74? I forget what
70
year
something, yeah, when they did the lock-in.
Yeah, boycott a race. And here's the thing. Boycotting a race requires trust that I don't think these men have in each other, which I think is the critical part, right? Because if I'm Max and I boycott the race, and then I see Lando Norris's ass lining up on that motherfucking grid for qualifying...
Oh, I'm fighting.
Right?
Crashing out.
So it's a level
Crashing
of
out.
They simply don't have in each other that is, like, abundantly clear by the way that they react to any suggestion from any of them that might better the sport, is they immediately go, like, fuck you and your suggestion.
Like just imagine, like, Lance Stroll is never going to do anything to hurt his team because that's his dad's team.
Yeah.
Well, so, like, it's never going to work. Like, I'm sorry, these rookies, I love them, but I don't know if they're willing to, like, actually put their foot down.
No.
In, like,
Liam Lawson, Bortoletto, they're not putting a foot down on that.
I actually don't even think that they need to, right? Would it obviously be ideal if all of the drivers participated in a boycott? Sure. The drivers you actually need to participate in the boycott: Max.
Yes.
Lewis. Lando. Oscar. Charles.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Those are the 5 guys you actually need to participate in the boycott.
Yes.
Because I love me some Formula One racing.
And George.
Sorry, I forgot about George.
Why?
He's
GPDA president.
Oh, yeah.
I love me some F1 racing. If those 6 motherfuckers aren't on the grid, what the fuck am I watching? The reserve drivers? You want me to watch Valtteri Bottas putz around in that fucking that fucking Mercedes against Kimi Antonelli? I love Kimi, that's my baby goat, but, like, I'm not tuning in.
I'm not watching.
I'm not tuning in. That takes time and effort. I'm not doing that. You're telling whoever they've got as the McLaren reserve drivers, you want me to watch them race?
Watch them and then sit here and talk about it?
You want me to watch them pull Liam Lawson up into that Red Bull just to crash it again? I'm not doing that.
We already know what's going to happen with that one.
So, like,
I don't think... Do you really think they put him back into the big Red Bull?
Who else are they going to put in the Red Bull?
I don't know.
They don't have...
They don't have... That's the problem. This is a complete segue, but that's the problem with Red Bull. They do not have a good pipeline. They fucked their pipeline trying to keep Daniel Ricciardo and Checo in these goddamn seats for 7 years. Like, they screwed their pipeline. They don't have anybody who's ready to be in that Red Bull except for Yuki.
And Pierre be getting in the way.
They can go pull Checo from retirement with Daniel.
Checo and Daniel.
Now that would guarantee me not watching the race right there.
LOL. But yeah, MBS decided to threaten Max. Hate that for him. And it's just really annoying. I need MBS. He harshes the vibes.
He has a hard on for Lewis and Max.
Because he doesn't like people not, like, falling into line for what he wants. He has, like, a very specific vision of the way that the sport should work, which is I penalize you, you go thank you for the lashings, and you keep it pushing. And it's like, why would I do that? There's literally no reason for me to do that.
Well,
foolishness.
You wouldn't have a body to govern if it weren't for these great drivers. But okay.
This is what I'm saying. The day that they separate will be a great day for me. Just absurd.
Just give it to Susie.
Yeah, give it to my girl.
Susie. All right, what else we got? We've been on
it.
here for an hour and a half, y'all.
I think that's it. I don't have anything else. I was scrolling to try and see if I had any other post-race
tidbits,
content or tidbits, but I do not. So I guess we can get into our post-race
question.
And I'm not going to lie to the baddies. I don't have, if I'm remembering my encyclopedia of things, I don't think that I have a pop culture moment to give you all. So instead, I will give you a fun anecdote, and then you can comment on said anecdote. So I was driving back from North Carolina with my sweet mumsy and my sweet nana. And part of the way that I stay awake...
Where's my sweet baby boy?
Asleep in the back seat for the entire 6-hour drive.
Good boy.
I could not sleep on this 6-hour drive for more than 15 minutes at a time.
Well, yeah, you get queasy.
Yeah. And in order for me to stay awake while I drive, and I was very benevolent because I was willing to drive my mom through 495 traffic at 8:30 a.m.
Wait, you drove coming back?
I drove halfway coming back because I already knew that once we hit 495 and it was 8:30, it was just going to be nasty. And I'm like, I can't do this. I'm just going to drive so I can dictate how we move through this traffic because 495 traffic at rush hour is something.
Not it.
It was very funny to show Nana how much tolls in Northern Virginia are because the tolls
how much
the express
are they?
lane. So the express lane tolls, which I believe amounted in its entirety to about 15 maybe miles of express lane. This is just the express lane. From 95 up to like Route 66, I want to say. $29 for the express lane. Critically, there's a toll road that is the most direct route between Reston, Virginia and Arlington, Virginia. I have some coworkers who live in Reston who have moved from Reston because of this toll road. That toll road, if you drive during rush hour, which if you're going to work, you will always be driving during rush hour, $35 one way. If you drive to and from work, it is a $70 round trip.
Absolutely not.
That's not the end of what I wanted to tell.
Absolutely the fuck not. No.
But I like to listen to my upbeat mix from
God.
every time that I drive.
Jesus.
And it wasn't until I was driving that I realized the entirety of my upbeat mix is basically Sabrina Carpenter's Short and Sweet album.
Oh.
I don't know if either of you have heard Sabrina Carpenter.
Sure have not.
Yes, I have, because you made me listen to it when...
Fantastic album.
Oh, wait. Is that the one? No, well, I didn't listen to the whole thing. I listened to a couple of the songs.
Fantastic album.
She's cute. It's fine.
The deluxe album, even better. The deluxe songs, highly encourage listening to them. It is not until I was driving with my sweet mumsy and my sweet nana that I realized that every Sabrina Carpenter song on the album is about coitus. And I was just sitting there and I was jamming along to Busy Women. And I was like, oh no. Oh no.
And what did your dear sweet mumsy and dear sweet nana have to say about that?
I think that they were tired enough that it didn't matter at the time. I think they were
I mean, this is your mumsy and your nana who we have played a Meg Thee Stallion music video in front of, so.
That's true. Sabrina Carpenter also loves an innuendo, so I don't know if it landed for them. I don't know.
It probably did. Your mom and nana are quick.
I don't know. Sabrina Carpenter's innuendos be flying by sometimes, and it takes you a second to go like, what did you say?
Oh! Ma'am?
That's my funny little anecdote. I had to drive back from North Carolina, and I was very tired. But we persevered through the power of Sabrina Carpenter.
Amen.
All right, ladies. Well, we don't have a race this upcoming week. Our next race is Miami.
Bienvenido a Miami.
On May 4th. I'll see you guys then. It's at a normal time, so we'll find out.
Oh, yeah, we're stateside.
We're stateside. It's at 4 p.m. my time.
Welcome to North America, heathens.
Mm-hmm.
Let me tell you something. Just a little side note. Them F1 fans are upset when I read an article basically saying that they don't think they'll be able to keep the two Italian.
Oh,
two Grand Prix
they're
in
not
Italy.
keeping Monza and Imola.
So
They gotta pick one.
Yeah. How can y'all not like two? That's so many. But meanwhile, United States has 3. And I think the biggest
comparatively country size, yes.
But the thing is, like, I think also that's another thing. People don't understand how big the United States is. And also, too, they are trying to build up an F1 market here in the States. Because, no offense, like, America, U.S. has, like, one of the biggest, is the biggest market that you can sort of tap into.
The select,
so,
it's... I get into this argument with somebody on Twitter every single year. Because I firmly believe that 3 American GPs is the correct amount of them.
Same.
I like that, yeah.
I live in the most populated stretch of the United States. I live in the megalopolis. Megalopolis superiority down. Okay? The closest race to me is in Canada. And I live in the mid-Atlantic. It's not even like I live in, like, Vermont or something, where, like, obviously the closest race to me is going to be Canada. I live in, like, the middle, and the best way for me to get to a race is to drive my ass over the Canadian border.
Yep.
I can't... Going to my own home races is an impractical choice.
Yes.
Yeah, we kind of got lucky. We got a race in our state.
Big TX.
Like, going to, like, Las Vegas, that's a 3-hour, 4-hour flight.
Yeah.
Going to Miami, that's another 2 to 3 hour flight. Like, flight. Like,
not drive.
Like,
I think they also forget that we don't have trains like that, y'all. Like, you can't just be hopping on a train to a GP.
And, like, sure, I
could hop on a train to Miami, but, like, I'm going to be on that train for 18 hours.
I can drive to Miami. It's going to take me about a good 12 to 17 hours, depending on how I get there.
Right.
But that's ridiculous. Versus all of those GPs in Europe, so many of them are drivable.
Yep.
Like,
or trainable.
Sure. Yeah, like, their public transportation system is very different than what we have in the States. So,
robust.
I understand there's a frustration, but to be honest, though, I actually wouldn't mind getting rid of the Miami Grand Prix. I don't like it. It's
I don't
not
care
one of
about
my
the Miami
favorites.
Grand Prix. I believe in US 3 GP superiority, though.
I believe in the 3
one
superiority.
on the East Coast, and I think having it be in Miami is actually really stupid. Why you'd put it at the end of the coast is, like, absolutely...
Put it somewhere in the middle.
There should just be, like, a Richmond.
Center it.
Put it in Richmond. Like, shit.
Richmond.
They need the tourism, girl.
But I don't really know.
Chicago.
Yeah, they build a track in Chicago. I think Chicago is, like, a perfect big city, kind of not fully on the East Coast. You can hit, like, you can get those Midwesterners. Northern, those Dakota people.
They're not going to this F1 race, girl.
They're going to NASCAR.
They have lots of other motorsport opportunities to go
IndyCar.
As stupidly expensive as F1. Why would I go to an F1 race when I live in the Midwest and I could go to an IndyCar race?
Okay, then. Whatever. I don't care. I'm going to go to USGP anyway.
All right, listeners. Well, we'll talk to you about the Miami GP. Hope you have a lovely night. Rate, review, subscribe, share. And we'll see you. Bye, listeners.
Peace. Bye.
Word to your mother.